Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crochet College. Or, if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Mia, and in today's video I am so excited to show you this 24/7 cotton yarn from Lion Brand. This was a yarn that as soon as I saw it in the store I had to have it, and I purchased this at Joann's, my local one near me. This is classified as a medium 4 weight yarn, and it is a 100% mercerized cotton. So the one thing I've noticed with mercerized cottons is they tend to do better over time. You get a lot less of that pilling or that lint coming out of the project, and they overall have a sleeker look to them once they're finished being worked up. A big plus is that this yarn is machine washable and dryable. The thing that really gets me with that is it's so much easier to make a wearable when you can throw it in the washing machine and you don't have to hand wash it or lay it flat to dry. So the durability of this yarn got me excited when I saw it in the store, and I purchased it in the color Jade. So this medium weight yarn comes in a 100-gram skein and has 170 meters in each skein or ball. The yarn itself has a very smooth feel to it, but more of like a sleek feel. It's not the softest yarn. It does feel a little bit rough, but I think that's mostly due to the unique way it's spun. So when you look closely at this yarn, you can see that it's got this crazy spin on it. I don't even know what that's called. If you do know what that's called, let me know in the comments down below. But it's almost spun the same way that I've seen the parachute cord spun. It's got like this braiding going all throughout it, and I think it's just beautiful. And by unspinning the yarn a little bit, you can see that it's made with like 4 different strands of yarn that's already been spun once. So this yarn is made out of those 4 plies, which were all made out of another 2 plies. So it's got a very intricate finished look to it with all of that spinning put together. You get this beautiful, almost braided effect, and you can feel that. So that unique spinning and that tight spinning on it does give it a feel that instead of feeling pillowy and soft like a loose spun cotton does, it feels a little bit more structured. It's not scratchy, but it's also not the softest thing you've ever felt. It's got a unique, sleek quality to it. This yarn can be center pulled. I do find when I pull it out, I get a little bit of yarn spaghetti, but not too much. So this yarn does recommend that you use a 4mm crochet hook to create a 4" by 4" square using 14 stitches across and 19 rows. So since this yarn recommended a 4mm crochet hook, I was a little hopeful. It sounded pretty close to what could have actually made the 4" by 4" square. They recommended the 14 stitches across and then 19 rows. Had they recommended 17 rows, I would have hit it perfectly. So my final swatch in following their instructions wound up being just about 4 inches by 4.5. So if I were to just stop at 17, I would have had a perfect around 4" by 4" swatch. It's very interesting to me how much variation I've found this recommendation to have. So sometimes I find that Lion Brand can hit it right on the head like they almost did here, or sometimes like their Pima Cotton, their recommendation is just crazy out there. So those are just some inconsistencies I notice across certain brands where they make a recommendation that for one crocheter to mimic, you need to make a huge adjustment to your tension in order to try to fit that in a 4" by 4" swatch. Versus this one, same thing, I let the hook do the talking. It came out with a much closer to actually hitting that 4" by 4" mark without having to change too much. Anyway, this yarn itself, it does have a mild scratchy feel to it when worked in this way with the 4mm crochet hook in the single crochet stitches. However, I really like this yarn. I love the stitch definition that you get on it. And even though when worked up in a drapey fabric, it can be a little scratchy, I don't think that knocks it out as a wearable. I've actually been working with this yarn for a little while to create a beautiful sweater with some amazing stitch definition. However, I'm not using a 4mm crochet hook. I went down to a 2.5mm crochet hook. One thing that's important to note about this yarn, because it's so tightly spun, I had almost no splitting when I went down nearly 2 full millimeters from their recommendation. So just because I have it on hand, it's still a work in progress. I wanted to show you guys the difference. So this is where it's recommended as a 4mm crochet hook. You get those big gaps in the work, and I worked this in a single crochet. This I've been working up in a 2 double crochets done at the same time, and using that 2mm crochet hook, and I am creating a beautiful project that I am so proud of and so excited to wear. This one is for me, and it's just been an amazing process. It's taken me almost a month to get it this far because I am using such a tiny hook, but the stitch definition is just unmatched, and I found working with that smaller hook, I'm not getting as scratchy of a fabric because everything's so tightly knit together. Where here, I think that scratchy feel is coming from all the divots created in the holes, which is a little interesting because usually I find drapier fabrics are softer, but in this case, having a tighter knit fabric works well with the tighter spun material. So I guess I'm a little biased because I've already told you I've been working with this yarn to create a giant sweater, but even that said, I still really like this yarn. I don't love it with a bigger hook size. I don't think it creates a good wearable that way, but if you can handle mild scratchy, it's going to be okay, and you could create a drapier look with it. I love that it's machine washable and dryable. That just makes it easier for us to sell our handmade goods when we can tell people with confidence that they can wash it and dry it. And a lot of the fabrics, especially cotton fibers, they tend to be very linty after you wash them, and I really don't see this yarn having too much lint buildup because it's so tightly spun. For all of those reasons, I'm giving this yarn a 9 out of 10. The only thing I'm dinging it for is it's a very thin fabric, and if you wanted to work up a drapey material, which is not something I want to do, but if anyone did want to, it doesn't have a good drape to it. It's very stiff. For a thin yarn to come out stiff like this, that's always kind of a surprising thing to happen. But I really do love this yarn. It is going to be one of my go-tos when I'm making things for myself, or whenever I want to create something that has beautiful stitch definition. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you'll be one of the first to know when I come out with a new video, tutorial, or pattern. As always, thank you guys for crocheting with me, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.